fun little wrinkle.
Now we are.
Yeah. All right. Bizarre. Underdog Daily with the Badge Bros, John and Nez. We got a very special guest hanging out. You guys know him by TheWood on the Black and Yellow Dog app, platform of the people there. And he goes by Scott, actually. A really nice guy here. And he's got a brand new tool that many of you guys are using already here. Profit tracking, leaderboard tracking, some expected profit stuff. Very cool. We're going to walk through it all in a half a second here. I think we're good. My bad. There was some weird StreamYard stuff going on. By the sounds of it, we're live on YouTube right now, but not live on X and whatever. But I'm getting some. Yeah, we're good now. We are good. Yo, Scott, welcome, bro. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So your tools have been kind of behind the deep, dark corners of the Discord for a little bit, and now they're ready to push mainstream here. You're ready to come out and share them with the world. Talk to me about the Streamlit tool.
Yeah, so I joined the community probably like little over a year ago, and I don't know. You guys all have pretty great ideas in terms of like what you'd like out of Underdog that they don't currently provide. And so I started building some Chrome extensions, and then that led to sort of, more and more wants for different kinds of data, different kinds of information. And then just thought, why not build, because I do this for myself. So why not, if I do it for myself and I play a decent amount of volume, that like, why wouldn't other people want sort of something similar to sort of see how they're doing? And let's be real, not everybody wants to track their profit loss every single day. And
this guy,
like if you have a bad week, maybe you don't want to track that week. And, it's just a little, trying to make it a little bit easier for the users on Underdog that enjoy NBA battle royales and just make their life a little easier. That's all.
Awesome, man. I know one guy who really enjoys tracking his profit this season. He resides in the top left corner of this screen. Nez, how great is this tool for you, Nez?
I mean, it's a very fun ego stroke for sure. But on the real though, like I there's a lot behind the paywall on Scott's tool that I really enjoy. I mean, I think it's awesome. I mean, like it pulls back the curtain like big time. In a way that like, I think is, I mean, it's nice you have to pay for it. Like I can see who everybody picks, not like necessarily day to day. I mean, it does get that granular, I believe. But like, if there's somebody that like, I think is good, I can go to their username, see at the frequency who they pick the most. So I get an idea of who they like. And you can then reverse engineer this stuff and say, why do they like X player? And okay, this guy profited really well on one specific night, and you can, and it is there is some bias, not bias, but like noise involved because like, okay, Buster's Boys, he won the 15K slate, so his highest profitable players are the people that were on that 15K slate. However, it's still very cool to look at and see who people like to pick, and you can use this, like you could pay Scott money, and then look at who you think the good players are. And look at their tendencies. It's just a really good way to kind of sharpen, like your tools in drafts. I think it's awesome. And of course, I like to look at my own results. I deserve it.
Yeah. Okay. One thing that I would say that this for me reminds me so much, like I always relate it to like the poker stuff and whatever. This is truly the peer-to-peer element associated with these games. This is what's different than salary-based DFS. This is what different is, that I can actually learn a little bit about my opponents, right? And before it was purely speculative, and now it's quantifiable, and that's really, really big. And I think it's a beautiful tool. I'm so glad you're sharing with everybody. I have the link below in the bio. I will drop it in the chat for everyone in half a second. Anything else you want to say? Just macro, lay of the land and stuff before we start messing around, Scott?
I think right now it's a little more reactive than I would like in terms of an app. So it's a lot of looking in the past in terms of what we've done and the players of like I said, like Nez said, like other good players and who they're playing and stuff. So eventually I'd like to migrate it more towards proactive. What can you do to be better? You know, what can we do to improve our lineups, improve our construction, you know, make it a little bit more usable in terms of that. But, you know, that's all kind of more to come. This is just solely a side project for me, so I don't get a ton of time to work on this. But
no, but it's an amazing side project to for our community, man. Like, I just can't stop drawing the parallels to like Poker of the Past, because it was like this was the first iteration. Was you got Poker Tracker, you got Hold'em Manager. Now all of a sudden I'm saving my hand histories. Now I'm going back after my session. I'm reviewing said hand histories. I'm reviewing the players I'm playing against. And then tomorrow I'm going to adjust accordingly, right? And then the next iteration was solvers and S-words and all this sort of thing. And then those two become blended, you know, 5 years down the road, right?
That's
and
literally where I got the expected profit versus actual profit. Was I remember using Hold'em Manager like a ton. And I was like, that was always a cool way to determine whether my showdown equity was just really unlucky, whether I was playing well or not playing well. Like, do I need to adjust? Like, you know, because everybody wonders, right? Like, are you just running hot or are you actually good? And this kind of helps you directionally in a way that can tell you whether you're one or the other.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think there's so much there's so much to learn from EV and like expected return. Like the stuff that you're dealing with in this is like peace of mind associated with it too, where it's like if I am down swinging hard in these games, I'm not just like, man, my picks don't matter. I'm not learning anything night over night. I'm picking all the wrong guys. Like this is on me. And then you go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure it out. And it's like, wait a second here. Maybe I'm actually playing all right. And maybe, you know, this is just going to turn around, right the ship in the future, a la Crutches, nobody runs worse.
I mean, so far this year, literally nobody runs worse.
There's some validity there.
Yeah. We joke. Let's bring up the tool here. You'll be at the helm here, Scott. I'm still 1 second behind in putting the link in the bio for everybody to click alongside you and sign up. You can sign up for a free account there. You just got to put your email in. Don't worry, Scott won't do anything weird with your email address, but it's just a necessity for tracking there. But yeah, here we go. Let's
so log in. So initially, just for the, you know, for sort of the free look, it's just the leaderboard. So we can kind of see who's been playing the best over the last 7 days. Yesterday,
who's at the top there?
Yeah.
I gotta zoom it in there. I don't have internet access. Can you tell me whose name is at the top?
Yeah, that is a hefty amount of point differential for Mr. Nez.
Wow, Nez Daniel.
No,
two community members though, 1 and 2.
All jokes aside, can you give us a couple zooms?
Sure.
Thanks.
Oh, Chipsy up there as well. Wow.
Yeah. Chip's been crushing.
So
I thought he was a one-trick pony with the heat check.
Watch your mouth.
So this just gives us, and we can filter by, you know, Deposit Kingdom, Hoops Chat, Peeps only. If you want to get your name added onto that list, just DM me. I'll put you on the list. It's just a way for us to EP-ing each other out of who's got the most leaderboard points throughout our own little internal community.
Yep.
So this is just kind of free for anybody who wants to sign up, take a look at where you're at. You can filter by your own username, that kind of thing.
Where's that Rotor Run guy at?
Let's see.
You're profitable, buddy. Don't sell yourself short.
Classic. Scroll the F down to find Rotor Run, huh?
71st.
71st. You heard it here first. The 71st best hoops player on the platform, guys.
And so, like, the idea behind the points is it's essentially it's the exact same calculation that roto grinders used to use. So it's based on you got to be profitable, you got to be in the top 20% of a contest, and it's like your the winnings to the exponent of 2/3, some BS calculation nobody cares about. But the things to look for in here are your top 20 percentile finishes, your top 1 percentile finishes. Those are the two main things you want to look at here in determining like how successful you are as a player. Top 20% usually represents a cash, so you might min cash. Top 1% is where most of the money is in a lot of these tournaments, right? So a lot of them are, fairly top heavy. They are nicely spread through that top 1%, but it is still a GPP in terms of that, right? It's still a contest that is going to be more top heavy. So the more you get in the top 1%, the more shots you get at first place. And that sort of is the same thing here. So the top 5% or 0.5% and the top 0.1%. So this number right here is why Sir Nez is one of, if not the most profitable player on the platform. Is when he finishes in that top 1%, he's finishing at the very, very, very high end of that top 1%.
That's smart, Nez. Don't waste your bullets on 10th place, bro. Don't waste your bullets on 10th place.
What is that?
Why aren't more people doing that? I don't know.
Seems pretty easy. I mean, like,
skill issue.
Night, why not? Right? Like,
Yeah.
You let us peasants have a night or two where we can kind of make some money, and then you come back in. And
one thing I want to give you, I mean, this is like, I love playing around on here. One thing that I would love to be able to do here is to have a filter to cut off on like a certain number of lineups, so that way I could sort by other like top 1% players, and then like get rid of some of the outliers. Because I would love to, unless I could do that, I don't know how.
No, I didn't make this editable, but I will change that. So I will change it so you can filter these things.
Yeah, because I just love playing around with this and creeping on other people. And seeing, like who's doing what, and like, it is very interesting to see who is finishing at these top X percentages, right? Because like if you are, and depending on what you care about the most, as a player, determining like, are you, if that's your definition of running bad or not. There's a lot of different ways to cut and slice that, of course.
Right, of course.
Nez, how are you responding to the allegations that you are perhaps a volume merchant? How many total lineups do you have there?
7 4. I mean, I'm not the highest.
Oh, okay. No. I respect it.
And the thing is, too, you only get points for one lineup per contest.
Exactly,
so
John.
Best finishing lineup per contest. So really, if you just put one in every single lineup or every single contest, that would be the same idea as to what we're getting calculated here. You just have to pick that one lineup.
So when I have those 6 layup line nights, John, I only get points for one lineup.
Yeah. Wow, you scooped the leaderboard the other night. You should be getting all those points.
I think he had 450 the other night, which is like the single most I've ever seen in a night.
Jesus.
Wow. Now, does this track just the main, or does this track every contest?
Every contest that I'm in, which is basically every contest under $100.
Okay, cool.
So that's kind of the caveat, right? So if I don't play the contest, I can't scrape it. And therefore, if I can't scrape it, I can't put it in here. So.
Right. Actually, let's talk about, that's a good segue to, I mean, I don't want to derail you if you want to go somewhere else first, but I think the scrape and the how to actually use the Chrome extension so people can do their profit and loss thing and find out have their own exposures and that sort of thing is a cool wrinkle.
Yeah. So like I built a couple tools that are pinned in our Discord, but I'll put them on the DraftKings website as well. I'll put my GitHub repo on there. So basically there's some things that we couldn't do on the site a year ago, like mass enter. So I built an extension for that. I piggybacked off Andy's extension with permission, and then it just sort of made it a little bit more robust.
Better. You could say better.
And there's a couple other ones. So like if you want to pull your exposures, I have an extension for that. So you can pull them at any point. It'll go through all of your tournaments and just pull all of your players.
Okay.
Rather than having to wait for the like hourly update from Underdog. And then there's a one that will pull the exposures when you're live. So if you already pulled the CSV for that night, it's a 24-hour. You only get one every 24 hours. But if there was an injury and your lineups wanted to your lineup's changed because a player got swapped out, and you want to keep track of who's in your lineups, then I have an extension for that too. So
beautiful.
I'll put all that on the site at some point soon. But should we look up Sir Nez? Is that okay, Sir Nez?
I mean, it's your paywall, man. You do as you wish.
Well, we might as well show that, like, obviously subbing to you guys in your channel could potentially lead
mutually
you
beneficial.
To said profits and said expected value, right? So it is a bit slow. I apologize for that. It's not the quickest thing in the world, but it does give you a lot of info. So
it does the job. Yeah, it does the job. It's pulling a lot of data, so it's worth the enter 5 drafts while you're waiting for the histogram to pop up, and it hits. Let me tell you.
Well, when the graph looks like the graph,
right? With the giant green dildos on the left. I mean, that's probably.
It's worth the wait because you get a lot of data too, other than just like the histogram, right? I mean, we're gonna get the one thing that you introduced that like we lost our minds over. And I'm really glad that you put on here for us was like the profitable players thing that I was talking about at the beginning. Yeah. Being able to see who you lose money on the most is very eye opening, and it also like can make sense too. I think on a grand scheme. Oh boy.
I just assumed TJ McConnell's my most profitable player. I didn't need to look at the tools at all. I just assumed.
So the left-hand side just gives you, a solid idea of where you're sitting in terms of expected profit, your actual profit. That is a very large number.
This guy's sun running. He's sun running. He's crushing his expected profit. No way this is sustainable long term.
The fact, what's wild is I think he's actually, you're either 1 or 2 in expected profit. I think 1.
Yeah,
the last time I looked. So like whatever you're doing is different than what other people are doing.
Interesting.
It's allowing you to finish higher in those top percentiles than other folk. So this kind of cool. The histogram here, let's explain this for just a quick second. So like, what is this? How do you use it? How do you interpret it? Right. So this is essentially like the distribution of how often you finish in a certain percentile of a tournament. So the top 1% is, like I said earlier, where most of the money is in any given tournament. It's where, all of your first through the top, if there's 20,000 entrants, it's the top 200 prizes are in that top 1%. And the idea is obviously get as many lineups into that as possible. More bites at the apple. So that's just kind of how to determine, like, if you had it in reverse where most of your lineups are in the bottom percentile, or you're going kind of low left to high right, you got to really look at your process and try to figure out what you're doing wrong.
Well, we'll juxtapose mine to Nez's in a second, and we'll see that. Don't worry.
Yours is fine.
I know, John. Like you have profit.
Run with the bit.
We're about to expose you. The bit's about to die in a few minutes.
Right. We're gonna pull up the name, and it's gonna be nothing. It's gonna be the same thing, just a little different. Okay, so this is kind of the one that I've got the most questions on. Is how do I even get expected profit? Like, what is expected profit? So if we take your distribution, that histogram I just showed, okay, and let's just say we had a tournament and you're going to enter 100 lineups in that tournament. Based on your distribution, and Nez's with like roughly 1.8% of his lineups are in the top 1%. So we would assume that 1.8 of Nez's 100 lineups he enters in tonight's main contest is going to be in the top 1%. And we take all of the prizes that are in that top 1% and we spread them out evenly, just so that there is no differentiation between getting first or getting 200th. They all get the same amount of money. And I think we could all agree that if we get a lineup into the top 1%, we've done as much as we can control. Now it's going to come down to a little bit of luck. You need less of maybe a blowout to happen, and guys don't play their full run of minutes, or an injury, or this or that, right? So if we distribute those all across those prizes across each percentile, and you have a specific personal distribution, then we just apply that across, add them all up, and you have kind of an expected profit across all things.
That makes a lot of sense. That was a lot. I never like saw your explanation for that. I just like, took it at your value. You're smarter than me. Like, okay, yep, that's my expected profit. That makes a lot of sense. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. So now we can kind of see, like, regardless of the amount that you've actually made, like, your expected profit is sky high. So, like, I wouldn't even consider you really running hot. Like, you're just kind of hovering around your.
I didn't want to say it.
Like,
I mean,
there are guys that I have looked up on this thing that are $20,000 above their expected profit. So, like, obviously that would be sun running. And then conversely, there are guys that are $10,000, $15,000 under their expected profit. And that's just, again, the luck of the draw, the luck of how the slate falls. Let's just say 10K entry contest and top 1% rate is 1%. So do you say equal odds of finishing first, second? Yes. So basically you distribute them all evenly across the whole percentile. So you have an equal odd. I mean, the finishing within each percentile doesn't matter because the prizes are just spread out across the whole percentile. So the placement doesn't really matter. It's just like, all $20,000 of the top first percent is being spread out amongst those 200 lineups evenly. So the placement itself doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool way of doing it because, like, obviously the poker stuff back in the day wouldn't have done that because it's not like hashtag skill issue that you finished first or 200th, because when you get shorter stack tables, shorter whatever, there's a skill component to it. Whereas in our game, there is a lot of inherent randomness and variance between place 200 and first. I think that's a very sharp way of doing it.
And I think, like, when we compare it to poker, like, it's, you're going to show up with certain hands against other hands, and they're just probabilities that you're going to win, right? You're going to be 60-40, you're going to be 50-50, you're going to be 90-10, and some you're going to win, some you're going to lose, but you expect that, out of 100 times you went 90-10, you're going to win 90 of them. You expect that, but that's not reality always, right? So we have that. We have a daily P&L that looks at your profit loss. That is a large green unit there. So that's just your daily profit loss.
This is a very interesting one to me because if you juxtapose his losses to his wins, he is not outsized in the loss category at all, which kind of says to me that he's always directionally accurate or he is not hyper exploitative in his play. So he's never doing like what we saw from Lukey Big Shots the other night. Ahmed Thompson, 98% in the dunk after dark. He scores 7 points and you have a full red bar. So when I see this, I can attribute a little bit of play style to Nez as well.
I mean, I think this is where, like, I am running, like, this won't necessarily tell you where I am running hot, but, like, I know where I'm running hot, and where I'm running hot is, like, and you do sort of get to see it, like I've said, like, for the third time now, like, the player exposure, like, we'll get there, but the player profit and loss, that's where you can kind of see where you're running hot. There are players that lose people money on, like, every slate. Like, they just are, they are responsible for losing like 5 figures worth of money for the field.
Never Hallie.
But then, like, my Hallie numbers go, I had Hallie in the winning lineup. So Hallie's going to look super profitable for me. So it's like, you can, like, run hot on, like, getting a guy right, or, like, hey, like I like the spot, like, I'll give myself that. Like I liked the spot against Toronto. So I was willing to take him on those teams. But there's other times where I'm like, Hallie is not, you can look, okay, Hallie has a big profit for me. And I keep jumping the gun, dude. I'm sorry. But you'll see the percent drafted will not be there. But yeah, at the same time, like, I'm getting the player takes right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm running hot and, like, I'm not getting injured because like, I am playing exploitative.
Sure.
Like, it's not that my exposures are flat. I don't draft every player in the top 36. I have way more of some players than others. So in that regard, like I am, I just want to.
I look at our exposures almost every single day to see where we're different.
Oh, really?
Ooh, fun. Okay, I gotta start doing this stuff. I'm getting lapped by the field by the fucking data scientist and the nerd above me here. So
there's a reason why
old hand builder John's got to start figuring it out.
There's a reason why Davis and the nerds have a whole 2-hour segment dedicated to these games, man, because they're so fun. They're fun to figure out. Like it's a very interesting game to puzzle, rather.
Okay, let's go full circle moment for half a second here, Nez. Remember talking about the future potential of this and getting like giddy and excited about it when we had like 10 viewers 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Like we would have these conversations of like, there's going to be tools like this, and then we're going to be able to see who so-and-so played. And then we're going to, and now we're in this era, and it even gets you more excited for the future iterations, man. It's the evolve with the games or die, this is the nature of it. Right.
Glad the interest is here to bring the tools to us.
Right. Yeah. And it's like the shifting of what Pete always said and what we've adopted is the table stakes, right? The barrier to entry of these games is they'll only ever get harder, but that shouldn't deter people from them. It should just be rethink ways of winning in them. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny, right? Because like I started on Redacted and started with like listening to Pete's content with Rick. And like I'm like a day one oh geez, sorry, I'm blanking on their show name. But like Lulz. Yeah, like I'm like day one. Like I remember I was there watching live when the like COVID thing hit. Like I remember watching their stuff and then watching you guys. And so like it's funny that this all comes, like you said, full circle, like in the same place. Like it's kind of wild.
Pretty awesome, to be honest.
We have a couple more things. Nothing crazy here. These are just simple tables. If you want to export them, you can.
Nice.
For your own records. Export the table just, so you can see how you're doing on a weekly basis.
So when you export that, is it just like what we see, or is it exporting like the data behind that?
No, just what you see. This actual physical table.
Cool.
You haven't had a losing week? Goodness gracious.
So annoying, man. That's so annoying.
Not even one losing week?
Hey, let's see. I'll fix this stream for a little bit here. I'm over this guy. Let's get to the Hallie part already.
Okay, so then we got lineup analysis. This you can kind of go through your own lineups. If I shrunk it, you could actually have more. Each lineup has their own set of stuff you could go through, like percentile profit. So you can actually see your most profitable lineup, who was in it, the place you got.
Very
just
cool.
Only 6 first place for Nez, 7 per first place. Just 7, no big deal.
Wow, just 7 first places. Wow.
And we're 6 weeks into the season?
That's crazy.
So this is what Nez was talking about earlier. So what we can do here is take a look at, now, granted, these exposures you have to take with a grain of salt. This is across all slates. So like obviously Anthony Davis isn't on every slate.
Right.
So it's just kind of like how many times was he drafted versus how many times was any player drafted. Okay. So like we have to take that all with a grain of salt. So in terms of like the field's profit with Anthony Davis, it's this amount of money, $38,000, equating to about 50 cents per time that Anthony Davis was drafted. And Nez's is basically bang on. So he's drafted him 8% of the time, profit of 276, 47 cents or so. So you can kind of, now this is where things get a little interesting, is like if you were to sort this by worst profit, 7% of the field, Nez averages 4%. So missed on Anthony Edwards being a bust in terms of underdog. Donovan Mitchell and LeBron James, he's under on those. Little over on Jalen Green, but that's probably because, again, he was probably in a decent lineup for you. So going back to Easy Point from earlier, like the way you build lineups with bad players is
I remember that slate. Nez. That was the one where Jalen Green had the Q tag in the 6th round. and then he ended up putting up the 40 burger, and that was like the one day you were on Jalen Green.
I think so. Yeah, I know. I just owe it to him to keep him in my player pool ever since. You know, you got to give back.
But if you look at the rest of these, right? Like he's under on Hallie, under on Turner, under on Marketing, under on Sabonis, under on Derek White.
Nice.
And like all of these guys are good players, don't get me wrong, but they're just not super profitable in the construction of like how everything unfolds, right? Way under on Vooch. And you know, on par or over on basically every profitable player. Like,
wow.
Is there even one? Oh, this is the first one. Pirtle, you're just a hair under.
Pathetic. Adjust on your Pirtle, dude.
John, no, go ahead, Scott. And then I want to ask John. I want to lead John into a question.
So, like, this is where you can see where am I differentiating from the field? Is the field doing something different that I'm not doing? Is my projection source not valuing certain people as much as they should? Now, like, again, we have to take this. Like, you don't want to just okay. Well, I'm going to have 70% Jalen Johnson from now on. Like, this is all within a vacuum, right? Like, but you can see where your own personal exposures differentiate from the field, and that can be valuable in the long term, in a big picture.
Very nice. Very
John.
Cool. Yeah, buddy.
Who do you think your highest drafted player is? I know this answer.
Oh. My highest drafted player.
Yeah. Who do you think you draft the most?
Oh shit. I don't know. I
wonder if it changed, and I think it's exposure and not profit. But I might have been sorting by profit.
Okay, give me a clue. Give me a clue.
Big white guy.
Big white guy. Dude, is Zubac?
No, it's not.
It's Pirtle.
No. It's Vucevic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have guessed that
about yourself.
Well, that explains your season versus mine because he was one of your least drafted and one of my most drafted.
He's made you money though.
Okay, well,
I'd be creeping on you, man. I like seeing what you do.
TJ McConnell.
Yeah, small white guy. You are probably over the field on TJ McConnell. I would hope. If you're not, then you're an absolute fraud. You got to handle.
I'm an
McConnell
absolute fraud.
card.
I'm pathetic. Okay, what do we got next here, Wood?
Okay, so that's kind of the tool in a nutshell. So like the things that are becoming, I'm going to put a list of tournaments that are included here. So if you're missing something that you think you should have, there was a heat check that I missed that I think is a Gumby that won that will never let me live that down.
He won't.
You were catching strays in the chat too from Chipsy saying you're not including enough of the dad contests.
Listen, I am a dad. I have a toddler to take care of at night. I can't just be drafting all the damn time at night. Okay, like I gotta spend some time with my family. They might disown me.
That's just when Chipsy's waking up, man. When the dad gets dropped, that's when right. Chips is waking up. That's his prime drafting time.
So yeah, and then some things coming down the pipe. I hope to have a little bit more analysis in terms of like, do you do better on a 4-game slate versus a 7-game slate versus a 10-game slate? More just kind of analysis that you can slice, dice, and move around in different ways, so you can really like try to hone in on what you're good at. Like, is it the main that you're good at, or maybe you're really good at like smaller field stuff like buzzer beaters and layup lines, stuff like that. So be able to slice and dice a little bit more. And then also, secondly, a user comparison tool. So if I want to compare my stuff to Nez, I can put us both in the same sort of window and be able to look at individual exposures, different pieces of analysis that will be able to kind of compare users to give you an insight and try to be more like, the players that you think are good at this kind of game. Awesome.
That's very cool. Amazing stuff. There's two little things that I want to talk about there. Is there any way, because this is the number one problem for me that I would love to solve, or I guess there's two. The ownership puzzle associated with winning lineups juxtaposed to ADP. That would be like number one. And then number two, quote unquote, leverage created through either CLV or flipping the board of projections based on the window of drafting. So if we use Jaylen Brown, for instance, yesterday, he's a third round pick. Tatum gets ruled. He's going 7, 8, 9. I want to be able to juxtapose profitable and unprofitable lineups based on the ADP of Jaylen Brown in that isolated contest.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I've built a draft sim that is fairly decent in terms of like being able to spit out 22,000 lineups that are pretty close to what the field would play.
Okay.
Kind of problem is it's when we do it in reality, right? We're doing it over the course of 12 hours where we're drafting. So those
fluctuation in ADPs,
and that changes the construction of lineups. But that would be something that would be quite cool. It's something I've tried to dabble with a little bit in terms of trying to use it more for leverage and be like uniquely building lineups. Because obviously, if we're going to just play the best players always, if we're drafting, let's just say the best plays are draft 1 and then draft 12, 13, and then maybe mix it up, in the 3rd and 4th round. Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. But like, maybe it should be 1 and draft 13, 15, or, there's got to be a way to be able to quantify that to be more optimal in terms of our draft strategy. But that's something I've kind of been toying with in the background, like on my own.
That's the resurgent of the dirty hands, clean money, hand builder bros community. The resurgence of that is going to be you coming on here with data telling me that, you guys, you can't just auto draft your 101 teams over and over again and hope to get ADP 9 and 11 with that 101. Right. Actually, we need 1, 15, 17 because they never make it back to the other side of the board, and you need exposure to those combinations. Yeah. That's what I want the data to tell me.
It's what I do in golf, like when I do golf DFS on here, because like there are 30% of the field playing the 112, and there's no shot that should ever really be the case in golf because it's so wildly variable.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that would be cool to be able to build something like that. That's definitely like a little bit of a long-term project, but
this is good, Nick. This was laugh out loud good for me, man. The good news is ADP stays the same all day, every day, so you don't need the data. That is so good, man. Yeah, this is why this is why Nez gets those 1% or 0.1% cashes, and I just get points for being in the top 200 because I just take Vooch's 40 points in the 2nd or 3rd round every single time.
Do what you know, man. Do what you know.
Wondering how I get those outlier left tails, right tail outcomes, and I'm just taking Vooch's 36 fantasy points every night. Can we do me really quickly here? Phrasing.
I do have him up. If it's
Oh, you're doxing me behind closed doors, Des?
I wanted to cross check my work. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't incorrect in what you're drafted.
Let's expose me as a guy who has more Hallie than the field and blow the whole brand up.
Oh,
hey guys, this isn't that bad.
I told you, dude.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not bad.
You gotta somehow work on your 2nd percentile. I'm not really sure how you do that, but if you can work on that, then I think you're pretty good.
Oh man.
But like expected profit versus actual, you're on a bit of a downslide on actual, but your expected is continuing to rise.
We call that a golden cross. That means you're due.
Hey, yeah.
That is true. There you go. You're due now.
Me and BTC going to 100K.
Handshake.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So
yeah, that downswing checks out. Yeah, look at those. Look at the profit loss over the last couple slates I've played here. The last 10, just straight down, playing all the wrong guys.
But I mean, you're still continuing to get as many lineups into that top 1%. So, like, I don't know. I don't think you're doing anything wrong per se. And
I'm just trying too hard to make the Nits fold. My showdown winnings. I gotta start showing. I gotta start showing up with good cards here. Yeah. I'm just trying to. I'm forcing folds way too hard right now.
That's funny.
But I'm redlining these nits to death by 30% VPIP in them. Okay, let's see. Let's have some fun at my expense with the players here. So we said Vooch. I thought it would have been Sengoat. Now that I'm thinking about it, when you said big white guy,
close.
I mean, another big white guy, ish, big-ish.
Am I the most racist NBA player on the site right now? The boys are doxing me. I'm only drafting white guys in the first round.
Oh my god! It's like
if SGA is up at the top right now, if SGA is up here, I'm only drafting white guys and Canadians. It'll be insane.
He's around.
Oh my god, that's great.
But then there's not another white guy in sight. Like we don't got no Lauri Markkanen up here. We don't got, you know.
Yeah, they got shotguns phased out.
Okay, so who's my most profitable player been and who's my least profitable player been?
So, I mean, by total, it would be Brandon Ingram.
Oh, BI night tonight coming back?
I mean, by play, I guess it would be Kelly Oubre with the one time that you drafted him.
Kelly Oubre, baby. Wow. I drafted him last night, too.
$55 out of Oubre.
Wow.
Fucking Kelly Oubre. That's my guy.
Let's see. How many? Okay, so let's go to an actual number here. Zion, okay. BI, DeRozan, Jalen Suggs, AD, Bam. You suck that much profit out of Bam. Jeez.
Yeah, it didn't work last night. That's for sure. He was my highest going last night.
And then, yeah, Şengün up there too.
Not bad.
Yeah. Did you avoid most of the landmines?
Oh, I highly doubt that.
Let's go by total here.
Okay.
7 and 7. You're a little over on Jalen Green, over on LeBron, over on. See, this one was surprising. Like I know Mitchell's not had a great season, but like he's had some big games. Like he's had a few 60 burgers, and so that one was kind of surprising to me that he was like one of the more unprofitable players.
Yeah, I guess it's just because his ADP never fluctuates and his projection never changes. So he's just always in that upper echelon and every fifth night he hits or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's interesting too, some of these players, like a lot of like really good players here losing people money. And a lot of the time it's just because like where their ADPs are and they just never overlap with the 102 and 101, 102, 103. They never overlap. So how are you going to beat those Jokic teams? Those when AD is actually playing basketball and it's not the puppet AD that's out there right now.
The last two games have been bad. Yeah.
But like, how do you possibly, if you can ever pair these guys with guys that put up 60s and 70s, how do you win? I think, you know, and I mean, hand builders have an edge in literally every single facet other than the time. But when you're hand building and it's a Lucas slate and it's a Jokic slate, like
tonight,
I mean, the ugly truth is like you're playing for the cash line. Like you need to find a way to make money on those teams because you're not going to win first. Like those teams just don't really win first place. It's so rare. It's so rare. So like you really do need to think about if you are building by hand and you don't roll the 102, 103, you know, you don't have to push the plane or anything. I think that's actually more incentive to try to, you know, min cash
diversify.
Those teams.
Yeah. Okay. Got
Make those teams as profitable as possible because they're clearly heavily not profitable.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty clearly.
That's interesting. Nez, that's interesting that you say that. Maybe a graph relative to draft position would be really cool too. So you could quantify that. Like,
yeah, I don't know if you get ADP in your scrapes, but
I get it. Like I based on my model that I run for my personal stuff, like I have it constantly downloaded. So like I've got historical record of ADP throughout the day.
Slap it on.
Yeah.
So and like then you can juxtapose timestamp of team drafted with a historical ADP then?
For my own personals, not for everybody else's.
Not for everybody else's.
I don't get the time that the lineup was drafted based on the leaderboard, unfortunately.
Got it.
Can we just kick Mikal Bridges out of like the NBA in period?
Is he profitable for me?
It doesn't matter what side of the board he lines up. That's not profitable.
No, it's just pain. Can you just leave?
I have 3,446 lineups. How many times have I taken Hallie?
Probably too many. 249.
Oh, I'm not a fraud, boys.
No,
I'm taking him 200. Fuck yeah.
You're under. You're under field average.
Yeah, done with Hallie.
But yeah, so I don't know. Some of these other guys, it is kind of weird, like you were saying, Nez. Like it's kind of odd if you look at like, so that's a 6-7 pick. This 5, 6, 7, 6, 7. Like in terms of like ADP, right? Like, and then like you don't see a lot of the 12, 13 or 11, 14 guys that would be brought up by AD or Yoke or Giannis or Luka. So it's kind of interesting that it's a
You don't want to take away the wrong messaging, right? I mean, yeah, I'm underweight these guys in general because, as we all know, Ant doesn't have a ceiling. But and that's a throwback. And if you, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, it's very much correlated to who they align with in the first round.
Right.
Yes, I know you don't know ball now that you say that, because I don't know if you heard Ant started shooting the 3, man. Things have changed.
Well, surely he's one of the most profitable players.
Surely he's won a lot of people's slates now.
Sure, he's not responsible for
every time you play Ant, you're losing 50 cents every single time.
Wow.
Every click, it's just they take an extra 50 cents.
Yeah, they just go right out of your balance.
Are they on the back-to-back and on the slate tonight? I don't know. I forgot.
I don't think so.
No, okay. It doesn't look like it.
It would have been really fun to have this show and then see Ant's ADP go from like 5 to like 9 by day's end.
The John Morant behind the paywall effect.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Actually, speaking of John Morant, I did see a question in the chat. The Taylor Jenkins effect on the profitability. Do we have any plus Memphis guys right now?
Like positive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, I thought Scottie Pippen would have been higher because he had like a little stretch there when Ja was out that like he was.
You know what happened? You know why?
Rounder.
Well, I think John Boy Beats is dragging that down because there was one slate where he swapped the Scottie Pippen and he just dragged that down. I think. Well, actually, no. He had him in a profitable lineup, so I take that back. He actually did have like one of his best lineups. So when it was like he should not have swapped the Scottie Pippen, but he did. Yeah.
I would like to know. I don't know how we could find this or whatever. Like, I'm trying to think of the most profitable outlier scroll the F down guy we've had this year. Like, who was the, like Tobias Harris last night for Mike Zakarian. Shout out Mike. Getting to Tobias Harris last night when everybody was clicking like Jaden Ivey, for instance. I want to know who that player, not maybe has been most consistently, but who was the one-time outlier that, resulted in big profitability.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting.
I mean, I think offhand, like Jared Allen sticks out to me. I think Buster's
Jared Allen.
Buster's
had Amen Thompson night too. That he like hit. They went to OT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. Amen Thompson. Like they went to OT and he had like 50 something with Jalen Green getting 50 something. Like that was a bit annoying because I didn't have any at all.
Yeah, that one rings a bell for sure. Yeah, it'd just be an interesting. Yeah, those are a couple of good ones in the chat there. Like the Terror Twins, obviously that's a good shout. Like Tari Eason's in there as well. McCain, Yabusele. I think these are some good ones. Okay. We got to look up the GOAT, Sam Olsen here, and see has anyone drafted more Bane than him? Is Bane Sam Olsen the GOAT's highest draft player?
Sam wants to look at his.
I think it's Sam Olsen 31.
31? Yeah.
I think so. I was like looking it up on the leaderboard to make sure.
I can never remember everybody's username off by heart. The expected profit for Sam is a little painful.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
It's real painful.
Couldn't be my GOAT. Couldn't be my Hall of Famer.
I mean, maybe it's because it's big.
It is the expected profit is very large. The actual does not meet the expected. We'll just say that.
Wow. He's having a little bit of a run bad here, but he's still the GOAT.
He's still top 20.
Well, he made it all back in the Dinger finals there, and he's about to make it all back this weekend. He's my front runner, even though he's got 3 lineups in the Dog Bowl. He's my front runner, boys.
That is a painful delta.
Wow. Is it ever?
Yeah, that'll drive you crazy. Wow.
Talk about directionally accurate every single night.
Painful delta. Like, look at that graph. It is
what?
Green.
What?
He's got a higher top 1% than you do, Nez. And,
Holy.
And still can't, like, just not lucky whatsoever. Like, this is how you can tell you're running bad, right? Like, you're running 10K under expectation. So that means, like, when you're in that top 1%, you're finishing in the bottom half of that 1% way more often than you should be.
Game of skill, boys. This quantifies game of skill right here. Honest to God. You know what I mean? Like this is quantifying game of skill and not just like looking at a profit tracker anymore. This is incredible.
There's only too bad, Sam. You asked for it, buddy. Yeah, I mean, there's only like a handful of you guys that are over 10K expected profit. It's like Sam, Nez, Crutches, Owen. There's only like a handful of people. And not one of them would I consider like a bad player or just like, that's weird that they're up there. Like all of them are like very good skilled players. So it's got to be some validity to it, right?
Yeah. I also, Scott, I'd put myself in that same conversation there because, Sam's played, 7,300 lineups. Nez has played 74. I'd only played 3,400 there, and I was at about 5K. So if we just double that, if I had 150 lineups, I'd win too. Yeah, that's where
that's what we're gonna go with. If I maxed everything, I'd win millions.
Yeah, well, if I smelled the roses, John, maybe I'd have a nice mental health as well.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay, let's do Bane. Let's do Bane. We gotta see this.
Right. My bad.
No, this is fun.
Desmond Bane? Like we're going Desmond Bane here?
That one.
That one? That guy? Yeah. There we go.
How many times has he drafted Desmond?
Near 400 or 500 lineups.
500 lineups out of his 7,300.
3% over the field, which is that's a pretty big percent. Like when you think about it, because like you said, he's not on every single slate.
Yeah,
that's a lot over the field. That
means you're probably like, if he's a mid, in the mid 20s, you'd expect him to be 16% exposure across the whole field. Probably means that Sam's like, the 20s to 30s almost every single time he's on the slate.
That is knowing thyself right there. And
the fact that every time he's on the slate, he's at some portion not even in the top 36 in terms of ADP. Like, think 3 slates ago when Jaw came back, he wasn't going every single draft, right?
Yeah.
So you got to factor that into like the ownership disparity plus the fact that he's going unowned at some frequency as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like him tonight.
Ooh, cheeky little segue. All right, Scott, anything else you want to share about the platform, about the price point? We haven't even talked about price point.
Yeah.
I'll drop the link in the chat.
So it's it's $8 a month. It's just to kind of pay for the server space and some of my time and stuff like that. It's nothing too crazy. Did you want me to do the giveaway now?
We're gonna do a giveaway. Yeah. Lead the people. What do we got here?
So what we'll do here is we're just gonna do 2 quick giveaways. So we're gonna give away a free month to 2 people. And it's just like simple trivia. First answer that I see is right. We'll go with that.
Okay.
So fingers on the keyboard, ready to rock. So first person who can name me the player who has scored the most fantasy points, like Underdog fantasy points this season, will get a free sub. So this one wasn't too long ago.
The most Underdog fantasy points in one isolated slate?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. We got Joker was in first.
Josh Richardson. Got it right. Giannis.
Josh Richardson, you got yourself
a Josh Richardson was the answer. I was like, wow.
Josh Richardson. popped off one
He
night.
had 105 fantasy points in 3 real minutes.
I missed that swap.
The reverse Benny Snell, or Benny Snell, the reverse Tony
Wow.
Snell.
Guys, I am like ODing on dopamine seeing these comments flooded. We need to do more giveaways, John. This is fun. I like seeing all these comments come in.
Okay, so Josh, maybe how to contact me? I guess like throw Twitter, me your email on Twitter. My Twitter is at the bottom of the site, just down here. Just hit me up on X.
It's also in the description. It's also in the description.
And I'm about to throw it in the chat.
That too. Or give me your email address if you're on the site. Throw your email address on the site or in the chat there, and then I'll take a look for you and I'll mark it down.
Sam's right here, man. We got like 200 of us watching. The Wood is giving away Membies out here. All this EV in the world. You want expected profit graph like this? Expected profit of watching this stream right now and learning that this app exists. How about that? Let's hit that like button, please, and thank you.
That was fun. I was I don't think I would have got that. I don't think I would have got that. Even though
all right. Do one more.
Yep.
One more quick one. Okay, so same thing. Just tell me the name of the player who scored the most last season.
Oh, shit.
Bonus points. You get an extra month if you're within 2 points.
I put one in the chat.
John.
Boom. Tyler.
Embiid?
Tyler's got it. Embiid was the highest scorer last year. Yeah. Tyler's in here. Embiid.
That was over 100, right?
Yeah, it was 104.1.
104.1 underdog points last season. Tyler, you got yourself a sub. You know what, Scott? One thing we need, like it says like the Streamlit, and it's like a Streamlit underdog based app, and it's like Streamlit UD profit tracker, the helper. What should we start calling like this? Like just every single time I want to reference it.
Just that's a great question. I don't know. I guess the underdog profit tracker. I guess.
All right, cool. Know. Let's roll with that. We could call it the Wood. That'd be pretty dope.
The Wood sheets. Just steal John's bit.
Yeah.
John Boy's bit.
He doesn't have a monopoly on sheets. He stole our scroll the F down, so whatever.
Wow. I forgot about that Giannis game, man. I'm just looking that up right now. That's 70 points in that game against I think Wemby was actually on the court in that game, and he just bullied him.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out Joshua Richardson and Tyler Grosso. You guys are the recipients of the big 1 month free on the Woody according to Chris G.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
The morning Wood. We check the leaderboards every morning in the morning Wood.
There's so many ways to go about this.
Oh man, wouldn't you like to be like Nez? There you go. That's what we're just gonna call it from now.
I gotta step away just for 1 second before we transition to the slate. But go ahead and do your thing. But I have to just give me 1 second.
Yeah,
sorry.
Sounds good. Have we done any drafting yet, there, Scott? Whoa, I lost both of you. I think Nez removed Scott, and I can't add him. Guys, Nez leaves and Scott leaves too. Nobody wanted to be left with just me. That's bizarre. I don't know what happened here. Yeah, Scott, the greatest Wood since Tiger. Absolutely. I think Scott's trying to figure it out there. Get back in. We got an orange screen. There we go. This is what happens, boys. Nobody wants to be left with me. Solo pod, good TV. Floundering here. I'm floundering. Shoot. Yeah, just the white drafter left. All right, let's pivot over to the main slate here. Hopefully these guys can find their way back in. It looks like my guy's doing an in and out again to get in here. Let's do this. We're gonna go unabated game by game. We're gonna search for some pick'em stuff together, and we'll walk through ADP and stuff here. I haven't been in the streets today. I'm a little bit behind. I had kind of a fun night last night. We were going to Japanese barbecue there, and then there was a fire in the restaurant. We all got shelved out. I was really excited to have some Kobe beef and stuff last night, and then we had to pivot the night on a dime. So I got home kind of late, and normally I'd try and do like 20, 25 last night before I go to bed, and then do it. There we go. You guys both left me, and now you guys are back together. I understand it, guys. I understand. Nobody wants to stay with me.
Just left you hanging. It's fine. You got this. No big deal.
Yeah, there you go. Off it on the stream. There's the new one. Juice McCaffrey's all over it. Boys, I was just saying, I haven't been in the draft streets in a decent way. I was smelling the roses last night there. So how many of you guys got down the hatch right now? Nezzy, how many you got?
63 of the main slate, and maxed the layup line, maxed the buzzer beater, and I think I've got like 3 or 4 crossovers down. I was really, really into drafting early on this one, and I was not feeling that way about the last 2 slates. This one, okay. I wanted to get ahead.
Okay, let's talk through that. Let's talk through that dynamic. Let's talk through as to why. What about this slate stood out to you as let's get in here early?
It's just a loaded slate. It's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy the first 4 rounds. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And I think really like the biggest piece for me, man, just to cut right to the chase, is like DeJounte Murray. Mm-hmm. I wanted to have a ton of. Wanted to have just a shit ton, and I do have a shit ton right now. Like I could probably not draft DeJounte Murray for the rest of the night and have like 29%.
Very interesting. So as a guy who hasn't drafted yet, who hasn't approached the slate, when I was looking at the injury report, I'm seeing like Misi's coming back off the ankle thing. Herb Jones is coming back tonight. Brandon Ingram's coming back tonight. I would have been like, why am I trying to get to DeJounte here? Like, this looks like the healthiest Pels team we've seen since the Zion era of like week 2 of the season. What is it that's standing out about DeJounte?
Yeah, they are super healthy, and I was considering that. But we had like pick'ems up for all these Pelicans.
Yeah.
And DeJounte was a 35 PRA. He's gone down to like a 32.5 PRA. So it looks less awesome now. Mm-hmm. But earlier in the day, I thought that I was in agreement with what the pick'ems were saying, and that, okay, cool, we know who's going to be healthy, and we still think DeJounte is a great pick. So I was all in on that. I just thought he was incredibly mispriced. I still think he's mispriced, but I was definitely overly bullish on the assumptions I was making on what the pick'ems were saying. So once BI got rolled in, they took him down to like 32, and I was like, oh, I thought that was baked in. It wasn't. But I still think BI minutes limit today. I would be shocked if he plays more than 30 minutes tonight. And like who being active here is going to like overlap with DeJounte's handling role necessarily?
BI would probably be the only one, just because, I mean, I'm not overly concerned about it. I was just kind of floating the question and asking because he's dealt with CJ over the last couple of weeks there, and then they've staggered the second unit with like him and CJ. So I think it would just be like a usage threshold of like whatever he was. I'm just going to throw out numbers. He was 21%, 23% without BI off the court. Now this is only their 3rd game sample of them together, and now he's a 19% usage guy or whatever. I'm just, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I haven't looked it up. I was just something I was anecdotally thinking about.
Right. Yeah. So all that combined is why I was really in on DeJounte, but I got to scale that back. I was a little overzealous.
How about you, Scott? Who was jumping out to you thus far? Who was the guy that you were trying to get overweight? How many drafts you got under your belt?
Just a shade under 70 for the main. Got a hair under 40 for the layup line. I'm like kind of halfway through my process. 10 buzzer beaters. I got a crossover done. Just like Naz, like this morning, like I was pretty heavy on DeJounte early. Personally, like Kyrie quite a bit. His ADP was
I fell for that one last time
I updated it, so I got him a couple spots higher than that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like the projections that I kind of have my model in terms of like RJ Barrett actually, in my mind, should be about 7 or 8 spots higher than he is.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty significant.
Evergreen.
So
yeah, I mean, we talked about RJ last time out, not getting enough respect there. He goes out, puts up 50. Nez wanted him on the cover. He fucking was the cover boy for a damn reason. Way to go, Nez. I believe that was the slate you won, and you won without RJ.
Yeah, I won without RJ and Jaw, who I was like trying to, make president on that stream.
Yeah.
But
you had Book instead of RJ, right?
What's that?
You had Book instead of RJ in that
Yeah.
lineup, like, and that would be kind of the construction it would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, we there's a good nugget there. Obviously, the Jakob Poeltl Q tag and how that plays into that. But we're not scared about OKC being the best defensive team in the league right now and them getting Alex Caruso back tonight, who's another premium guard defender.
I mean, if that's something that you're concerned with, then I think you should definitely smash some lowers.
Okay. Yeah.
Because this dude's pick'ems are, it's hard to find pick'ems that are as high as his.
What are they? Tell me, spit some knowledge.
35.5 PRA for
wow. Wow.
Very and nice. But that's big. That's that's what he's been at all season. He's just
with or without Scotty.
Yeah.
He's a good player. People just are not adjusted to it.
He's perpetually underpriced almost every single slate. Almost every single slate. At least by a few spots.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, like
nice.
I'm not taking. I mean, Vooch is in a great spot, but I don't like taking Vooch over him, and I don't take Mobley over him. Yeah,
one that doesn't feel great is like Brunson. Like,
okay,
like I don't know. There's always like potential for a decent Brunson game.
Yeah,
that one always doesn't feel great, but
you can pair Brunson with the 101 easily.
Yeah.
You can pull him up.
Very odd the last couple times out there because we've talked about Tibbs and Tibbs being so heavy with the minutes and whatever. Last game, Cat leaves the ball game. It was a spot where they were winning by a lot. It was blowout run. They needed to win but didn't need to run it up for NBA Cup stuff. And then Cat leaves the ball game, goes back to the locker room. Brunson stayed on the bench the whole time. Then Cat comes back out and plays blowout run, and Brunson just stays on the bench. And he's played 26 minutes in back-to-back games there since Deuce Miles McBride has been back. So I don't know if concern's the right word, but like they've clearly found something where they like using Deuce and saving Brunson a little bit, I guess. But when do these Tibbs minutes come back, man?
Yeah, how bad did they beat the Pelicans? I'm assuming it was an ass whooping, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 30 something. But it was weird to see Hart in the ball game late, Cat in the ball game despite leaving and going back to the locker room. But not Brunson.
The Hart one made sense last game because he was chasing a triple double. And he got it. So yeah, and maybe he was like out there maybe Cat was trying to help him because he wanted some assists. So he was just dishing to Cat, and then Cat could do some bunnies and shit.
What are you saying, Jericho? Sims can't get you there? You saying Sims can't get you there?
He wanted that triple-double, man.
Yeah, this one's interesting. This was the stuff I was looking at. Like the Orlando one wasn't that overly close there too, and that was the Cup game. And Deuce stays out for 25 in that one. Mikel's been like his 35 no matter what. OG's been the 31. He had that outlier 39 game. Hart is always like the upper 30s there, except for that Pels one. He was chasing the triple-double in the Orlando game, and that's why he stayed out there. It's just, I don't know what's up with Brunson the last two games. I guess it was just blowout run in both, and they just ran with Deuce instead.
Even if that's the case, right? Even if they're like, okay, it's just blowout run, but like they're playing the Hornets and they're 15-point favorites, like it's the same. You're not wrong. It's the same concern.
Same concern, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ceiling's undeniable, especially in that matchup, Okay, cool. Let's move over to some of the game stuff. Do kind of like a little game by game. I'll bounce back and forth between the injury report. We're gonna get a new injury report in about 14 minutes time here. This is an 8-game slate for us on our site there. let's talk about the first one there. Let's talk about Mavs Wizards. Let's talk about how PJ Washington got you home last time out there, Nez. We got Luka at 2 today. Wiz still without Kuz there. They had a weird thing with Malcolm Brogdon last time out where we slammed some lowers on our paywall stream. Tap a little on the back for us there where they're doing the quiet quit thing in blowout run there and then playing all the rookies. Just something to think about in terms of like the Joe Val and him. Joe Val started last time out and played very well. But I don't think either are in our player pool today. What do you think about this one just in general, guys?
I don't love it, man. I don't love this game. Jordan Poole getting drafted every time, but I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad, and he sometimes goes undrafted. I was worried at first. There was no pick'ems up for Jordan Poole, and in my first few runs, I had a ton of Jordan Poole because the total was so – well, I thought it was going to be higher than this, but I was thinking, okay, a nice offensive pace game, get Jordan Poole out here, do the Jordan Poole stuff. But I've really cooled off on Poole. But, I mean, like I've got like 20% in the main contest. I don't want to have 20% Jordan Poole tonight. Okay.
Yeah, how about you, Scott? You alluded to the fact that you like Kyrie here just in general. Talk me through it.
I think in general, like, I mean, it's going to be a pace-up game, right? So we got, like Luka will do Luka things, and if they end up blowing them out, it's probably because Luka and Kyrie, so that's fine. I guess you kind of get there, but it just feels like, if you really want a ceiling game where it's going to go back and forth, it's probably not it. It's probably just going to be a domination fest, and you're not going to really get all of the good run that you'd really want. I mean, Poole, I'm a little bit more up on just recently. I got a 5% increase in his projection the last little bit, so I think I'll probably get a little bit more going into the slate because I didn't start with much. But
what's the model saying about the baddies tonight? What's the model saying about the courtside baddies for Poole?
In DC?
I wish I could quantify that for you, but yeah.
The lobby is sports side, I don't know. And John, there's something on your end of the spectrum here. Daniel Gafford, remember me game?
Ooh, well done. That is big on my spectrum now. We got Lively back last game. This is the healthiest the Mavs have been in a minute. Normally we've been dealing with a bunch of Q tags on the Mavs and stuff like that, but they're basically just missing Najee Marshall, who's been a part of their rotation. Outside of that, like Exum's been gone all year and it's G Leaguers and stuff like that. So I will ask you guys a question on the Wiz side there. Is there any love for any auxiliary Wiz component in the last round, knowing that Kuzma, Kisberg, George are out, and we got Q tag on Brogdon?
I don't have somebody in the top 50 for me.
Okay, so it's just Jordan Poole.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you had a crystal ball and knew Joe Val was going to play 28 minutes, then like he could be a 6th-round pick. But otherwise, no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like the best spot in the world to get to a Wiz guy. I mean, maybe Belil. I don't know, but maybe we just leave it to the pick'em lobbies for
6th
something
round
like that.
6th round's too deep.
Yeah, there's so many good players. You got Chris Paul or Jalen Green or Allen or OG or I don't know. I mean, those are all pretty low ceiling guys, I guess.
But still, I mean, like,
Desmond Bain.
Yeah, Desmond Bain staring us in the face there.
I mean, look at that total.
80%.
241.5.
Oh man. Let's talk about Nugs in Cleveland. Cleveland low-key been a pace-up spot for other teams. Ty Jerome with the Q tag tonight yet again. He sat last time out there. On the Nuggets side, looks pretty clean. Aaron Gordon came back. He's been back for 3 games now, ? Maybe 2. Maybe this is his 3rd. And back in that starting lineup there. Outside of Jokic in the first round there, and everything we've seen about Donovan Mitchell being an underperforming, unprofitable player on our site right now, boys, whom are we clicking on from this game?
I mean, there's a lot of players to click on this game.
Okay.
I mean, Mobley's got a really high ADP, like not too far separated from Spida, but I expect that to separate as the slate goes on or as drafts go on. I would be surprised if that Mobley ADP holds, but maybe it does, and I just won't be there.
Okay.
But Garland, I think Garland is very draftable in this spot. Jamal Murray is in this range of players, similar to like NFL ADP, where it's where I start to think about like bad picks. But I'm gonna IKB this one and say Jamal Murray's a good pick. He's actually gone up by like a fraction of ADP, so he's getting clicked, more and earlier. But I like the spot for Jamal Murray, like you said, John, pace up spot. This is something that I want to play when it comes to this game environment on both sides. But it's really Jokic, Murray, Spida, Mobley, Garland for me. No Jarrett Allen for me. I'm off that until he hits, and then I'll chase it. But.
Just seeing a note in the chat from our guy Eggers. Hope to run into him this weekend down in Dallas. There, unfortunately, couldn't take advantage of the puck game that he offered up to us on the Sunday night there with the Dog Bowl. But appreciate the generous offer, my friend. Brog is in. We just got the Malcolm Brogdon news 31 minutes ago. It's just not on the most recent injury report there, so he is in, which just throws another damper on that Wiz stuff we were talking about. Anything else you'd like to add, Scott, to Nuggets and Cavs game?
I'm probably a little backwards, actually. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm in for a little Garland and Allen action. Okay. And Murray's fine for me. Mitchell and Mobley, I'm a little down on. Yeah, I like that backhand a little bit better myself. I think they're two of the stronger 6th-round plays in Garland and Allen.
Nice. Yeah, just projectable volume. Does the Chai Jerome stuff being out matter at all to you when you update your model stuff, or?
Not really. I mean, it's not a big enough sample to really take into account, like to make any big assumptions, in my opinion. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody got love for Michael Porter Jr.?
You could, yeah. But I don't. I'm not gonna get there. But you definitely, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Not for me, though.
Too far down, in my opinion. We're getting into like 50-ish, top 50 players.
Okay, sounds good. Thunder, Raptors. Thunder, as I alluded to earlier, getting Alex Caruso back tonight. I mean, the rich get richer on the defensive end of the ball there. Man, that team looks every bit stout. Still without Chet and still without Jalen Williams, not J-Dub, the other Jalen with a Y. Raptors side of the ball, we still got that Grady Dick questionable tag, and we got Jakob Poeltl questionable tag. It's an illness, just noteworthy there. How you guys playing this one? I know you guys both had some affinity for RJ Barrett in terms of, the market's still not catching up to where he should project. Anything else you guys want to talk through?
I mean, Scotty Bolway. He's he's a popular 6th overall pick. So got to be careful about how you pair him. That those are one of the more cognizant parts of these games is who are you taking along with your turn picks. So mixing up who I pair with Scotty, but he's a great pick. He's right where I would have him. Hard to get off that. No Poeltl for me. It was a late queue. It happened this morning. It wasn't like from last night. It happened. We got that news today. So I think that's bad news for my guy Jakob. And then on the Thunder, I'm pretty light Hartenstein.
Pretty light Hartenstein. Okay.
See, this is the difference between a profitable player and me. So like I'm completely reversed of you outside of Scotty Barnes. So like I got a ton of Barnes and Barrett, but like I have a very uncomfortable amount of Hartenstein.
Okay. And the thesis behind that one, Scott, is just the fact that without Poeltl?
Yeah. And like he's put up 40 plus, outside of the most recent game.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's looked good, but obviously he's kind of got a capped ceiling, right? Like he's not going to go out and drop 30. So you were hoping for what a 5 or 6 stock game, and that's kind of our path to a ceiling.
You're hoping for the Rudy Gobert from last night.
Yeah.
Shut up me, my second highest exposed player. It didn't matter. Shut up. Yeah, shut up me, dude. Good hand on the court take from Mike Sakarian. Give him a shout out earlier for his success last night on the platform. If you guys don't watch Mike, you guys got to be watching Mike. Sometimes wears a collared shirt. It's awesome. But the Cavs stuff here, he's talking about how they've stopped closing with Jarrett Allen recently. So looking at some of the splits stuff there, we were talking earlier in the season how the handling and shift, the kind of hockey shift line changes that they were making were Mobley and Mitchell together Garland and Allen together, and then all four would start and all four would close. And in recent memory, that hasn't been the case. So yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, just something to another tool in the tool basket, as the kids say, right, Nez?
They do say that, as a matter of fact.
They do say that. We talked a little bit about Knicks Hornets here. Scott, yeah, absolutely, dude. Scott's got to dip out here. Promised to do an hour and stuff like that. Your platform, bro. Say anything you need to say before leaving.
Thanks. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Obviously, any suggestions you guys have, anything your viewers want to see on the site, let me know. Hit me up on X. We're in the Deposit Kingdom Discord. Hit me up on there. But yeah, just appreciate you having me on here. Josh already reached out. Tyler, reach out through X or whatever, and I'll get you hooked up with a sub. And that's kind of it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Love it, man. Awesome. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing this. It's such like a affordable price point. I think I told you I'd pay like a gaudy amount to have this information. This is really affordable. So guys, if you like what you saw, you can really use this to help your process. And it's just fun to look at. Give Scott your money. He deserves it. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, boys. Okay. Take care, guys.
See you, buddy.
So I got to let my dog out of this room. My wife just got home. He's freaking out.
Yeah. Sounds good, dude. Johnny Footballs, man, you've been around long enough, my friend, that you can't be outing yourself like this. If you don't catch the tool basket callback, bro, oh man, you're outing your knowledge as a badge bro right now by not catching the callback, my friend.
The tool basket.
Give Scott your money so that you don't have to give it to Nez.
Yeah. Put it in better places.
All right, Nez, we talked a little bit about Hornets Knicks, a little bit of blowout risk here. We were a little skittish on some of the Brunson stuff there, but the ceiling is undeniable. It's coming at some point when the minutes tick up. What are we doing here? Obviously still no LaMelo. We saw a nice Nick Richards game a couple nights ago, despite Mark Williams being back there. Nick Richards finally started, and they cut Diabates like a little bit from the rotation there, so allowed him to attain a bit of a ceiling there. Those are kind of like my only little nuggets on this one.
Yeah, I got like 14% Brandon Miller. I like him. Yeah. He's the whole offense right now. Spread is just massive. It scares me. Really, I'm a little worried about the floor. But I don't want to fade Brandon Miller because I think Brandon Miller can put up 50 tonight.
Okay.
And then on the Knicks side of things, I got a ton of Karl Anthony Towns. I guess I'm the only one taking Karl Anthony Towns at ADP, so gonna have to do something about that. I've got a decent amount of Josh Hart, 14%. No, not a decent amount, 14%. He was somebody that he was in that range where I didn't want to like have too much of him because 100% drafted Josh Hart. That doesn't seem like a good click.
No.
But I think Josh Hart's good. I think he's good for our games. 100% drafted Josh Hart. That to me is a red flag. And I have 8% Brunson right now.
Okay. 8% Brunson. All right. Yeah. All checks out to me. Any love for any Hornets piece in the 6th round? That would kind of be the other spot that I was looking at.
No. Nick Richards going in every single draft right now is a no thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he is a decent like rates guy, and he has had the minutes, jump up a little bit. And as you alluded to, there's kind of nobody else in that offense right now. But yeah, that's
100% drafted Nick Richards.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Miles Turner thesis. The Josh Hart kind of falls in that bucket too, where it's kind of like, Miles Turner, Josh Hart, Nick Richards, like these archetypes of players where it's like the right tail outcomes are kind of few and far between, but like the mean projection keeps them in the back end 5th, 6th round are kind of like the guys that you want to be on some nights and then off on the nights where their ADP push up, similar to Tobias Harris, for instance. Like shout out again to Mike for that play last night, where it's like you don't want to be on Tobias Harris when he's 100% drafted at ADP 28. But when he's ADP 35.5 and everybody else is taking Jaden Ivey, well, now that becomes like a decent pivot on an isolated night.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next game there. Bulls and Spurs. Spurs without Wemby in this one. Spurs, Vassell back, which, could matter. I saw you toss out a nice little pick'em earlier on that one. Good to see he's not listed on the injury report at all. On the Bulls side of the ball there, no Lonzo, no Kobe White, no Patrick Williams still, and then a Q tag on Josh Giddey. So a lot could shake out in terms of handling for the Bulls here. Does this bring my Vooch into play here? What do you like in this one?
Yeah, Vooch has some tough competition around him, so like I'm not jumping up and down to get to Vooch tonight. I'm at I have very little Vooch, so I'm gonna fix that because no Wemby against Spurs, high paced game. Yeah, I need more Vooch than I have at the moment. I have a lot of Zach LaVine right now. Okay. I think Zach LaVine's going a little undervalued in drafts. He, to me, is somebody that I want to have quite a bit of. He feels like a pretty safe click. 32.5 PRA I last saw in the pick'em lobby for LaVine. Potentially no Giddey. We know no Kobe White. So I am in on LaVine here. Spurs side of the ball, man. Hard to draft anybody on the Spurs, but I do think Chris Paul, in some instances, has a case to be drafted.
Okay, interesting. I'll throw out some other names here. If we get no Giddey, let's just say that right now. I don't have a lean on the situation. He had a really nice game last time out there when Kobe White didn't go. Any love for Io, Buzelis in the last round, THT, anything like that, or is it way too far? I had to sneak him in. For the bit. THT is never going to die on this stream.
No, never. We're number one fans of THT, but
he's kind of fat now, dude. Like he's kind of plump out there. Yeah, he's a thick boy right now.
Dude, he's massive. Yeah. He's a wide load.
Oh man. Any love for I guess Buzelis or Io? Buzelis could maybe draw in probably more of a redacted play at min salary.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that today. Even Io without Giddey, I think it's just maybe, but
maybe not. The Spurs side there, you said Chris Paul. No love for like Castle in the last round. Zach Collins maybe getting like 24 to 28. They've done some splitting stuff with like Charles Bassey. Charles Bassey's had some good run at times there, but Vassell, Keldon, Sohan, anything like that, or you think it's just still too deep a rotation to try and sift through to get like 36 minutes from someone?
Yeah, I don't see enough concentration here. I wanted Vassell to be like draftable here, but I'd rather do it in pick'ems. But I do think he's like very due for a minutes increase and very due for a lot of work offensively without Wemby. Like Wemby was accounting for so many shot attempts. Now he's out. Get Vassell in potentially over 30 minutes. That would be great for Vassell, but it's a little thin to get to in drafts. Castle has been playing pretty well, man, but not currently part of my player pool.
Yeah, I think he's like kind of like a good basketball player who's going to start. He's going to play good 30s and stuff like that. But in terms of like rates to fill it up, like he's a pretty good stock guy. But I just think when CP3 is out there, the handling won't be enough. And he's like not a dude who's going to fill it up in bunches for us. Like, I don't know. Like the reason we like McCain yesterday in the last round is like, oh yeah, he's going to go out and try and get 30, when other guys aren't there. Castle doesn't seem like that guy. He seems like a very solid basketball player with like some good distributing and some decent defense, right?
Yeah, like there's not a ceiling there.
Right, yeah, like that's a way better way of phrasing it. Like he's just a balanced basketball player. All right, Suns and Pels here. We talked through the Pels a little bit when we were talking about your guys' affinity of getting ahead of the DeJounte Murray ADP. I did see in the chat there that because he was not Canadian or white, I wouldn't be drafting him. This is another spill-off bucket of players I always draft, and that's good UW boys, Nez. So will have DeJounte in the player pool tonight.
That's true. You're allowed to pick him.
I still can't get over that. But yeah, kind of the healthiest iteration. Still no Jose Alvarado, no Jordan Hawkins, but we're gonna get Misi back tonight. We're gonna get Herb Jones, and we're gonna get BI here alongside CJ McCollum and Trey Murphy and DeJounte there. So healthiest iteration of the Pels. Suns, on the other hand, no Nurk, no KD, who rolled his ankle last time out. I put Booker on the cover just because I thought there'd be a nice little usage spike kind of thing that coincides with that. Tyus Jones in the last round, anything like that. Usu, something like that. Does he start at the 5 again and mix in the 6th round? What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good game for us.
Okay.
I am definitely into Devin Booker today. I've got a lot of Devin Booker. Got a lot of CJ. I was doing BI in the 6th round, cooled off on that. He got activated, and now people are taking him in like the 5th. I just think he's going to get a minutes limit. Like, I don't know, like what.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if he played more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, I was about to say 28 would be my number. If I was building projections right now, I'd have BI at 28, 27.5.
And he's the one that I am worried about fully healthy. Like as fully healthy as a team. Very much more concerned about him. Minutes restriction fully healthy. His usage is who I'm more worried about. So like, what's he going to get you? Like 31 fantasy points? I don't know. So I am like not in love with the fact that people are excited to take Brandon Ingram. Like I think I'm going to be off that. But DeJounte, I still am in love with. Like he's gets a lot of stocks. I think he has a pretty high offensive ceiling on top of that. Okay. I could just see him exploding. And if not, then, I'll take my L. But he's like, to me, a player that I'm building like every lineup around.
Okay.
I want to pair him with every first rounder.
Wow. Okay. All right. There's your stand on the day. Love it, dude. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. DeJounte Knight, according to Nez, who is, reminder, the 101 profitable player on the site.
I do like Beal too. I just want to throw that out there.
I was about to ask about Rosa and Neal, Tyus and Beal, like kind of any auxiliary stuff we can do here.
I think Tyus, like you can consider, but like I'm not going to have any Tyus. I don't even have a lot of Beal right now, but I think Beal is. I mean, I see him in my player pool. He's a part of it. He's just hasn't made any teams yet. But I see him thinking about him. Haven't done it.
Sounds good to me, man. 30 last time out in that when Durant left at halftime of the Cup game. There, didn't play against the Warriors, and then had the 27 minutes against Brooklyn. I think that was like a week and a half ago now. Okay, cool. Let's go back to Unabated, check out the totals and stuff like that. Kings and Grizz. I was kind of shocked how high this one was. 241.5, highest total on the slate here, Nez. Man, Grizz 3.5-point favorites at home. They are very hard to parse through right now. We talked about it last show, how their rotation goes 10, 11 deep. I mean, Taylor Jacobs is a really good coach, and it's very smart what he's doing, but it's really hard for fantasy. The Kings on the other side of the equation, I mean, this is Tibbs, West Coast Tibbs right here, where the starters are playing big-ass minutes, even with Kevin Huerter back last game, that sort of thing. They were dealing with some injuries before, and now Monk is just part of the starting lineup. His ADP reflects being part of the starting lineup, and it's just like DeRozan, Sabonis, Fox, Monk, and who am I missing? Keegan Murray just playing like north of 35 every single night. Who do we want to get over on? Is it cannibalizing one another? What do you think here in terms of Kings Grizz?
Yeah, the Kings usage right now indicates like a hot seat for I think it's Mike Brown, right? Mm-hmm. See the coach right now? Yeah. He's playing for his job.
Interesting. I feel differently. I feel like they wouldn't.
What is running up your starters at this level indicate to you?
They probably don't want to pay another coach because he has guaranteed money through next year too. And I think the Kings are probably too cheap an organization to pay 2 head coaches. Mm-hmm. I think this is just like grasping at straws with, the fact that they haven't been playing as well as their roster potentially indicates. And yeah, I think it's they've always been like decent minutes runners with their starters, though.
Yeah.
Not to this magnitude at all. You're right.
But like Sabonis and Fox are always minutes leaders.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. But the new Monk usage is interesting, and he's somebody that I'm gonna let me just check something out here.
Sure. I will also say, Nez, their bench fucking sucks. Like they signed Jay Crowder like a week ago. You know what I mean? Like Keon Ellis has had moments. Kevin Huerter was hurt. Now he's back coming off the bench. They haven't been using him a ton. But like, Doug McDermott, like Jordan McLaughlin, Keon Ellis had like a couple games there. Like even backup 5 stuff. Like, yeah, it's just, I think they're just so thin, and the only way he thinks they can run and hang is playing the starters 35.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that. I have one share of Malik Monk right now.
Okay. So you're not buying in. You're thinking that everyone has kind of jumped the shark on his ADP because of the box scores, 40 fantasy points for like 3 or 4 straight.
I mean, dude, 25 ADP for Malik Monk, 25. Yeah. I mean, smash the hires. If you believe this, if you think that he's worth drafting where he goes, smash his hires.
Yeah.
His pick'ems are mediocre. His pick'ems have him outside of my top 36.
Right.
All things considered.
Yeah. I'm
not like this is one of those spots, man. Like you gotta take stands on somebody. I'll take my L if Malik Monk, is gonna win a slate. But I think I can match Malik Monk with guys that get drafted less than 100% of the time.
Okay, let's throw out a name there for the people. Like, what's a potential Malik Monk matcher who isn't drafted 100%?
Pulling up my. I mean, like, I think Chris Paul can match Malik Monk tonight.
Okay.
No one wants to draft Chris Paul.
Sure.
I mean, he's up against the Bulls. No one wants to draft Chris Paul. Jonathan Kuminga, I think, has a chance to match Malik Monk tonight. The Wizards or the Warriors are down literally everybody. I think
Bradley
Kuminga, Beal, consider Beal, definitely. Yeah. Bane.
Yeah, Bane. Nice. Same game environment, other side of the ball.
Yeah. Cool. So he's just not somebody that I'm going to be paying this price for.
Sounds good, man. What do you think about the Grizz, dude? What do you think? We alluded to how they've been running. How they've been running, 10, 11 deep like that. It's hard to parse through what the minutes will look like, but Jaw's got the ADP of 13, indicating that, they're expecting near full minutes from him tonight. And then you alluded to, Bam, people saying it's a good spot for JJJ, attacking Sabonis on that side, alluding to Trey Lyles is their best bench center, LOL, and he's not even playing. So yeah, the spot does look decent for centers on the other side. But we've talked about the Brandon Clark versus JJJ and how, having both of them on the floor, a little bit less rebounding opportunity than in the past when he was playing the 5 and this sort of deal. So anyways, macro thoughts on Grizz here. Do you like the Jaw ADP?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. Got to see 31 minutes for Jaw last time out against the Mavericks. Expected 30 minutes from Jaw. I expect 30 minutes from Jaw tonight against the Kings. This total is massive total. I like Jaw. I like JJJ. I haven't done Bane yet, but I do like mixing in some Desmond Bane as well. JJJ just has such a massive ceiling when it hits. Just a matter of if and when. But
yeah. For sure. At home narrative, at home for the stocks narrative there. So
there you go. Scorekeeper's on his side.
Oh man. You alluded to oh shoot, I haven't jumped over yet. We got Rockets, we got Warriors. This is a hard one to parse through. Nez, it's the late night hammer. It starts 2 hours after the other ones there. 4 points, indicating road favorites for the Rockets side. And the reason for that is the fact that the Warriors have ruled everybody out already. We got Steph Curry out. We got Draymond Green out. We got D'Anthony Melton done for the year, obviously. And then you got Andrew Wiggins with the Q tag there. So there was your affinity for the Seaman Pale, a.k.a. the Cum Bucket, a.k.a. Jonathan Kuminga in the 6th round. Jonathan Kuminga in the 6th round. They're getting some love from you. On the other side of the ball there, Nez with the Rockets. We got the Fred VanVleet, a.k.a. JVV, a.k.a. I won't say the last one. Q tag there. Tari Eason already been ruled out. Cam Whitmore, G League assignment. So yeah, what are we doing with some Rockets and Warriors action here?
Yeah, I'm taking Fred VanVleet.
Yeah,
but I think he sits.
It kind of gives off those vibes, does it not?
They ruled him questionable before this yesterday. Warriors, like you mentioned, have Steph and Draymond both sitting, and it's still only a 4-point spread, which is interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's up with these with my Rockets here. But I like a lot of Rockets. I like Şengün.
Okay. Yep.
I like Jalen Green.
Yep.
I like Fred VanVleet for swaps.
Okay.
Because, hey man, if Fred VanVleet sits, and even if he doesn't sit, right? Tari Eason out today. It might be Amen season.
Okay. Yeah, Amen's obviously the one that comes close to mind. We've been quite outspoken about talking through when he starts versus when he comes off the bench and how much better he's been when starting. No stocks in the last 2 games and came off the bench in both those games, 26 minutes, 23 minutes, and he had fantasy points that were uninspiring of 16 and 8. But then he starts against Philadelphia, plays 40 minutes in that ball game, and puts up 52 fantasy points with 6 stocks, 19, 13. A guy who can fill it up in every category. Maybe not the assist column all that much, but can definitely get some points, some boards, and some stocks there. So I do like that shout, especially with Tari Eason out. Just knowing definitively that he'll be first man up at worst, kind of thing, brings him into play. But yeah, do you think he draws into the starting lineup if we get no Fred VanVleet tonight?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they probably
I'm trying to get out ahead of it.
Okay. Yeah. So Jalen, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, Şengün, and Ahmed Thompson. That sound right to you?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a lot of Şengün right now, man. I do not have a lot of Şengün. I like him tonight, but like, who do I have ahead of him, man? I gotta check my fucking ranks, dude. Oh yeah, that's why. That's why I have so much Karl Anthony Towns. That's why. All right. Well,
you have him ahead?
Yeah. I have him ahead all day.
Noah Foster. Who is Sam Olsen?
Who is Nick Rodman?
Who is Nick Rodman? Love it, dude. This interesting question for you. What's the max amount of players you'll take from a team/game environment, Nez?
I think anything on one single team, anything more than 3 is probably terrible on a big slate.
Yeah. On an 8-game slate, 3 would be the cap there.
Yeah.
And it would have to be a team with like a super condensed rotation that was missing pieces. Like Boston, for instance, yesterday, if you did Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard on the same team, it was probably bad, but not terrible once Jason Tatum was ruled out, kind of thing. But you could get away with it. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Yeah, cool. Warrior side of the ball there, I told you all the out tags, Curry, Green, Melton, Q tag, Wiggins. Is there any love outside of Kuminga in the last round there? Could we get to Pods? Could we get to Looney? Is there any? Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Maybe Wiggins.
Yeah, just Wiggins. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Wiggins. That's it for me. No Podfather, even though he's a fine player. Just a little too deep back at that range to get to to get to him. But this is one to keep an eye on, man. There's gonna be some funny business here. Like Warriors off the rip told us there will be. So we'll see if the Rockets respond and follow suit.
Okay. Yeah, I think you could see some classic, even if you try and get ahead of this shit, you see some classic Steve Kerr bullshit where he just runs out like the craziest lineup you weren't anticipating. Like all of a sudden, like slow-mo's in there, Lindy Waters is at the 2, and you're just like, fuck, I tried to get ahead of it and play 35% Kuminga in the last round, and he's not even starting now.
That would piss me off to no end.
Yeah, exactly. Just something to be mindful of with Kerr. But Kuminga did start last time against the Nuggets when they were missing bodies. There, played 28 minutes, 34 fantasy points. He was on the Dunking After Dark slate. I had 70% of him, Nez. Wow. All right, dude. Yeah, I only played one lineup. No, I'm just kidding.
How did that work?
Yeah. I think I played 60 in the Dunky After Dark and did a whole bunch there. Nez, let's hop in and see what it looks like. Anything else you want to do take-wise or, get off your chest here before, we draft?
No, I think it pretty much covered it. Like I said, man, I've got so much DeJounte Murray. So much DeJounte Murray.
Yeah. And then you kind of alluded to, you've kind of talked out of both sides of your mouth with the DeJounte. You liked it a lot more earlier. Now it's kind of trended in the wrong direction. Now you still want him in, a bunch of combinations that other people won't have right now. But you also said, hey, 29% is probably good for me right now. So how are you going to treat DeJounte the rest of the day?
Ooh, man, I'm gonna keep taking him.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have. It's just gonna be a DeJounte Murray day for me. It's gonna be a very binary day. I think. I because I still believe in DeJounte. Like just because the pick'ems change doesn't necessarily change my thesis all that much.
Yep.
It's a tough slate. I think people are gonna mix and match. As they, as some, maybe you should.
Mm-hmm.
That's like where my convictions lie. But, I would like to get this below 50% before the slate's over.
Okay.
I don't think that's too much to ask.
Okay. Yeah. Below 50.
Dude, I could literally not draft him again in the main slate
and
have still be 30%.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a ton.
Good shit, dude. All right, Nez, we rolled the 105 here today. So instantly coming into play is how do we compete with those upper echelon teams there without just getting like some blowout run in other games? What is the number one way you would suggest competing here?
Well, I mean, dude, I've been taking Cat. I just think Cat is very good. His pick'ems are awesome. Bigs against Charlotte. I don't even care who is the big there. Love me some Karl Anthony Towns, but I think you should, if you are concerned, if you're trying to compete with first rather than just build a good team, maybe try to look for a game with a tighter spread. But I think that's also too cute.
Okay, sounds good, dude. I would lobby for Devin Booker here. I think he's kind of like the one guy that stood out to me in a big way, but I'll hear you out on anybody else.
No, I like Book.
Yeah, I do think he's kind of like a mental tier break at 7 there. 7, 8.
Yeah. I think if you do a lot of drafts and you're getting a lot of Cat Book
as a combo,
mix in some blocks, some Jaw, mix it up a little bit. But Devin Booker, by the numbers, is the pick there.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Update your apps, guys. Brand new UI. Send us some feedback on the apps there, as AP is alluding to in the chat. They've kind of changed the track spot on the app there. And,
so drafts is just for the lobby, finding a draft to do, and active drafts, whether they're slow drafts or daily drafts, whatever. That's all under drafts. And then track has our pick'ems and drafts all in one spot now. You just have to go to the drafts tab when you're on track and change to daily or best ball, and everything should still be there. So yeah, The one thing that is like you got to go completed and then scroll down. Like I do NFL and NBA, so I got to scroll down a good bit to find NBA. That wasn't always how it was, so now I just got to do a little bit more scrolling to find it. But they're down there, guys. It's just a new change. Just gotta get some new muscle memory.
Yeah,
programmed.
the muscle memory factor is always a huge thing with guys who live on the app and they bounce around and then they just, you're gonna misclick like 10 times.
Yeah.
Getting used to it. There's your DeJounte Murray pushed up to 14 there, Nez, ahead of Jalen Brunson. So his ADP kind of a fugazi. Brandon Miller goes there. Evan Mobley, RJ Barrett. The Wood said he likes Kyrie Irving this evening. What do you like in this range, bro?
I've been doing it, RJ, but you can always do Kyrie against the Wizards too. But I've been doing RJ.
Okay.
Mobley's an interesting one, man. I just have so much trouble getting Mobley correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you there. It is a tough one to get right on a night-to-night basis, especially when there is a large spread in that game. This is kind of where I think Scott was alluding to getting a lot of Hartenstein because not many people know what to do with this range here. I'd throw my hat in the ring for JJJ, though.
I would prefer Jaren Jackson.
Let's do it. I don't think Pirtle goes tonight. The illness tag is we kind of glossed over it. We talked about it, but we glossed over like the midday illness Q tag relative to like some of these other Q tags. Fam has cited it before on their show and a little bit in the Discord with Unabated and stuff like that they're like kind of a death sentence. They're like 65, 70% sit tags comparative to, your standard tags.
Yeah, I don't ever really mess around with midday queues, man. Those are no matter what the designation is, a midday queue is generally bad news. I can think of like one or two times when the midday queue this season has come back to bite me in the ass and a player actually plays, and I don't even remember if that actually mattered for the results. It's just like as far as getting it right, you're gonna be right more than you're wrong by fading.
Yep, sounds good to me. Malik Monk going at 24 there, as you alluded to, not one of your favorite picks on the board. Fred VanVleet, there you go. Falco thinks he's playing tonight, taking him at 27. Nick Richards at 28, who was one of your least favorite ADPs on the board as well. Zach LaVine at 26 was a guy that you liked. We're dealing with that Poole, that Hart territory. Is it okay to take Brandon Ingram at this point in time? What do you like, Nez?
You could. I would probably opt for Green or Garland.
All right, let's take Green. Let's play the Fred VanVleet, aka JVV, sets narrative there. He takes Hart and PJ Washington, so it gives us a choice between Poole, Garland, and BI. Who do you like?
Garland. Maybe good.
Yeah. Why? Who are you gonna say?
No. Good. Yeah, I was gonna say this could be okay time to take BI. I like Garland though.
Okay. Yeah, 16 minutes last time.
20 minutes. Yeah.
16 minutes last time out because he had a face contusion. He got like hit in the face or something like that. So it wasn't And now he's off the injury report entirely. Tight spread. This game should be pretty sick. Mm-hmm. It is playing we've cited it so many times how they're playing a bit faster too. Like hopefully, like back in the day, this game would have been an absolute slog. Now at least it feels like a push up there. Interesting. Eggers alluding to the fact that no Giddey. ETR loves him. There's a good Q tag swap potential coupled with good player with White out there. Nez, we could rip one more of these, or we could build a pick'em and call it a show. This Mr. Goodboy knows what time it is. Let's do a pick'em. Something everybody can take part in. All right, let's do that. I will go bring up the Unabated side. They got the DFS pick'em tool. Projections are not out. They might have been out 1 minute ago. They did allude to the fact. You gotta wait a little bit. Yeah, about 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Mr. Giveboy knows what time it is. Get your Mr. Giveboys. Get your Mr. Giveboys in the chat there. Sup to Curated, had a good night the other night there. Yeah, I think this is kind of like the consensus AP, where it's like I said the same thing. Like I like it. I like the things all under the track menu, but there's mixed feelings about it right now, and we'll parse through that. And it's the platform
that get used to it, you know.
Yeah, take a day to get used to it, let it digest it, and yeah, I mean the mobile interface is, it's always a love-hate, dichotomy. That would be the word between what people like at first and what people don't. Right? Chip just wants the news tab back. Classic.
He's so lost now. He has no idea.
He's years behind. Okay, Nez, pick'em lobby stuff there. I will say when I do bring up the non-basketball stuff, the first edge that they're showing is Saquon Barkley lower on carries. That's very interesting. I thought that was going to be we were talking like 25 carry game for Saquon there. I will talk through a couple of these that Unabated is showing for us right now. Again, reminder, without their projections, this is market-based projections right now. Probably not going to do an Andrew Wiggins thing because of the Q tag. We just don't want to take that risk for this. But they're showing a little bit of a lower on Brandon Miller, a little bit of lower on Zach Collins PRA. I kind of like that one because I do think they've done some weird stuff with Charles Bassey in the past and them splitting those minutes. Isaac Okoro lower here in terms of points and rebounds, small edge. Yeah, those ones are kind of the ones that got my attention were the Zach Collins and the Okoro one there. Yeah. BI higher points as like a minutes thing. Like that's kind of like a bet on minutes in my estimation. But yeah, what was some of the other stuff that you were liking?
Vassal points.
Vassal points. All right, cool. Let's go back to the black and yellow dog. See what we got here. Were you laddering that thing to the moon? Were you sliding it up? Or were you
I took it to 24.5.
On the points. Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Took it to 24.5 Vassal. I mean, that should, in theory, bring them into contention for us in the 6th round. It's thin, but like that's pretty close.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I should just like man up and do it, but I haven't.
Okay. All the little up arrows in the chat for the bring back the news tab. Blowout run for Gainwell. That's what they're suspecting. Their teams are clinching. Weeks are getting weird. Yeah, that checks out. I could see that. MWald50 suggesting Io hires on assists there. Looked good earlier. Interesting. Just factoring in that like maybe Giddey's out and all the handling's gone with White and Ball. Now all of a sudden Io can do a little more handling and do a little more distributing. What else did you like, Nez?
I was looking at Jokic and Jokic assists and thinking about doing one of two things with Jokic, either playing a triple-double or playing his assists to 9.5.
Where's the assist slider at right now?
Way up.
I scrolled past it already. 5.5. So if you slide the assist to 9.5, basically we're telling the same story. You get a 1.15 multiplier, or if you do the triple double option, 1.47. Let's take the smoke there. Let's get that extra little boost up there.
Yeah, I submitted this same pick'em earlier.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I think we're getting the same multiplier that I got there. What was that? 9 something?
Yes, I believe so. I think it was 9.7 or something. Okay, I'll share that one in the chat. There's our core 2-1 there. Do you want to do something alongside that with the unabated market projection one right now? Do the Zach Collins lower, Isaac Okoro lower, and either add it to this or add our own third?
Yeah. What was the Collins lower?
PRA. Okay. Isaac Okoro lower on Let me jump back for a second. Points and rebounds. Points and rebounds at 9.5 there. And then Zach Collins, PRA lower. I kind of like that shout. 22.5 there. Unabated market projection showing it at 21. So there's something there. Reminder that this isn't their full projection set yet. You guys got to look back in almost 15 minutes time now. Probably 4:30 p.m. Eastern is kind of like a good benchmark for their initial run of projections, and then we can kind of build it in. Reminder, they still got that Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale going. That's their best deal of the year, 40% off. Use promo code BADGE at sign up there. Helps us out a lot there if you guys want to join up with the Unabated team. Great projections. Nez uses them, and Nez is the most profitable player on the site. So how about that? I use them too, but don't read too much into that. That's a skill issue.
Use them better. Use them better than John.
He just uses them twice as much. There you go. If I had 150, I would win too, right, Nez? Okay, what do you think about this IO shout from the chat here? Or do you have another one that you want to add in as a third?
What did they say? Anything? They just said in general IO assists. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What else is something that you like? You like the DeJounte stuff, right?
I like it much more now that it's at like 31 and 32. Yeah, 32.5 for DeJounte. We have fantasy points, dude. I would just take his fantasy points.
Okay. DeJounte fantasy points are at 38.25.
I'm going to need him to score more than that.
Good shit. All right, let's do that. I know some people in the chat are a little less bullish on the DeJounte stuff tonight. I'm trusting the best player on Underdog NBA right now. And we're doing DeJounte there. I'll share that one in the chat. A little assist from Unabated on the Isaac Okoro, Zach Collins. 2 BBM entries from your boy placed on that one with the DeJounte higher on fantasy points. So 2 fun ones there. We got the remember to do the slider on the first one if it doesn't show up. I think the links have been working really well and the sliders have been showing up now, but I always like to tell everyone, make sure you slide that Vassal up 24.5 points there, and then the double for Joker. And if you want to put all 5 of them together, be my guest. I'm not going to do it on this one. I'm going to do it on this one. Who am I kidding? What am I thinking? I got to do it here. There we go. Okay, I will click my own link here. We got to put it all together here. Yeah. I mean, what are we doing?
One final form.
Yeah, we're going to be making some fun ones this weekend too. Can't wait for the new sizzle reel on tomorrow's show, off and on the clock. That's crazy. I'm going to see you tomorrow, bro.
I know. Can you believe it?
That's fucking crazy.
Big show tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a big kiss on the cheek.
Oh, buddy.
I'm not. Okay, so we had the Joker double there. We're gonna add that one in here. Actually, it's gonna be early morning. My flight's at like 7 a.m. my time, so I have to get there early. Yeah, there's only one direct flight to Dallas each day from Vancouver. Yeah, all right, triple double there for Joker. And then the Vassell, slide it up, slop it up. Devin Vassell, we're going to slide him all the way up to that 24.5 there. Nez likes it. 65x on that one. 1 BBM entry gets us $1,600. That'll pay for the weekend. That'll be fun.
That's fun.
Let's try and rip that one home. I will share that one in the chat as well. This is a good one in the chat. I like this one. Lowers on the Trey Murphy rebounds, assists. If it's still at 9.5 with BI and Missy. That one seems like a sharp one there.
Yeah, feel free to throw that one in here too.
Yeah, it's up to, it's 8.5 now instead of but you're getting a little boost because of it. But just one on your radar. I'm going to wait for the Unabated stuff to come out soon and then mess around with the DFS stuff. If you guys are hanging out in the Discord, I don't share them a ton on Twitter. Like we share the ones from the show and stuff like that on Twitter, but I do really like to reward, especially when we're using tools that are like paywall tools. I do really like to share those in the Discord with, the subscriber based community more so. So maybe we'll share something like that in the future. Nez, I am going to timestamp this bad boy up. Then I am going to get up our 2 events. Pete has already placed the events up there. I did not see what time they definitively start at, but give us a little leeway there with tomorrow's show. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that. There is a shipcast tonight, this evening. I do see that they just got their stuff up. I totally forgot about Thursday Night Football because we were so hoops focused today there, but we will be doing plenty of football action over the course of the weekend here. I'm floundering, Nez, to find what time we had scheduled that one for, but keep your eyes on the lobby here. I will
get 7:30.
7:30 p.m. Eastern.
That would be Central Time, I think, actually.
Central Time. So 8:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow is going to be our Off and On the Clock show.
I believe that's correct.
Beautiful. Okay, I will get it scheduled and get it up in our YouTube interface for you guys, so you guys will know well in advance. But we will 100% be having a show tomorrow and interviewing some of the Dog Bowl participants, and we will be having a show on Sunday morning to rehash some of the stuff that took place on the Saturday night there. Really looking forward to the Dog Bowl this weekend. It's going to be great. The content's going to be great. Everything with Underdog is fucking top shelf. So it's going to be a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah, I am. I'm excited to see you guys, man. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, me too, man. Hopefully we cook up some absolute spicy margs on the show for everybody to win alongside. I was just checking my app right now because Luke was there to set up, and he was going to send me a picture so that we could send a little sneak peek of what it's going to look like. But he hasn't sent me one yet.
All right.
I think maybe check-in was at like 4:00 or something like that. Nez, man is asking, are you taking DeJounte Murray over RJ Barrett this evening?
I was. Probably not anymore.
He was. Probably not anymore. All right. Respook, there is a link below in the chat or in the description that you just click, join the Deposit Kingdom, sign up for Discord, click it. It's all free in there. It's sports-specific breakdown under the Badge Bros show tab there. Ness sent a link in the chat there. All right, cool. All right, beautiful. Any last parting words, guys? Go check out the app. Link for the app to Scott's show is in the description. Shout out to Scott TheWood for joining us. Beautiful tool for us. Shout out to Joshua and to Tyler for being the recipients of his giveaway there. You get 1 month free on the platform. Check out your profit loss. Check out how your 1% lineups are doing, all that fun jazz. Check out Nez's teams and dupe the fuck out of them for the next week. Yeah, Nez, anything else for the people?
No, I'll see you in the lobbies though, guys. Good luck tonight.
Damn right, baby. I'm gonna get my I'm gonna set the benchmark at 80. Hey, I'm gonna get 80 in today. What do you think about that?
Come on, you got that. Come on.
Okay. All right. Never mind. 150. If I had 150, I would win like Nez too. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Nez, John will be in Dallas tomorrow.
Let's go, baby.
Peace.